Intel Core Ultra 9 288 volts, Flagship Lunar Lake CPU, benchmark sleek, faster and single core at 30 watts versus similar T2P Ryzen i300. Leak. Intel's Flagship Lunar Lake CPU, the Core Ultra 9 288 volts, has been tested in Geekbench 6 and shows strong single-core performance in a low-power design. Intel Lunar Lake, Core Ultra 9 288 volts, CPU showcases strong single-core performance for a low-power design. The Intel Lunar Lake lineup will be launching in 2 months in September and will be aimed at the thin and light laptop segment. The upcoming lineup will feature brand new technologies such as the first debut of the Lion Cove P cores, Sky Montel PE cores, and S2 GPU cores along with a powerful NPU offering up to 48 TOPS and an accumulated platform performance of up to 120 ITOPS. The chips will also mark the beginning of Intel's Copilot Plus PCs. Intel Core Ultra 5 236 volts Lunar Lake CPU spotted on Geekbench, entry-level 17 watts chip for thin and light laptops. Image source, Intel. Starting with the specifications, the Intel Core Ultra 9 288 volts will be the flagship CPU offering within the family, featuring 8 cores and 8 threads. These include 4 P cores and 4 LPE cores, a base clock of 3.3 GHz with up to 5.1 GHz P core and 3.7 GHz E core boost clocks. The CPU is equipped with 12 MB of cache and comes in 30 watts PL1/PL2 flavors. This is much lower than the existing Meteor Lake lineup, which can feature up to 57 watts MTP. In addition to the core specifications, the Lunar Lake flagship comes with an ARC 140 volts GPU running at 2.05 GHz. This new GPU is based on the Battlemage graphics architecture. The chip also features 32 GB, dual rank, on-package LPDDR5X memory clocked at 8533 mount s. The NPU offers 48 TOPS and combined with the GPU, you get 115 TOPS plus 5 TOPS from the CPU. 2 of 9. Coming to the performance, the Intel Core Ultra 9 288 volts Lunar Lake CPU scores up to 2,901 points in single-core performance and up to 11,408 points in multi-core performance. The lowest scores are 2,790 points in single-core and 9,596 points in multi-core. The performance was evaluated on an MSI Prestige 13i Evo A2 VMG laptop, and the following is how the maximum performance stacks up. Geekbench 6.3.0 CPU mount test, higher is better. Multi-core 0, 4,000, 8,000, 12,000, 16,000, 20,000, 24,000. Ryzen 9 7900X, 120 watts. 17,860. Ryzen 9 7945HX 3D, 55 watts plus. 16,452. Ryzen 7 7700X, 105 watts. 15,273. Ryzen i9HX 370, 35 watts. 14,773. Ryzen 9 7845HX, 55 watts plus. 13,660. Ryzen i9 365, 35 watts plus. 13,032. Core Ultra 9 185H, 45 watts plus. 12,084. Ryzen 9 8945HS, 45 watts plus. 11,775. Ryzen 9 7940HS, 45 watts plus. 11,527. Core Ultra 9 288 volts, 30 watts. 11,048. Core Ultra 7 256 volts, 17 watts plus. 11,031. Core Ultra 7 268 volts, 17 watts plus. 10,036. Ryzen 7 8840HS, 28 watts plus. 9,522. Ryzen 5 8640HS, 28 watts plus. 7,844. Core Ultra 5 236 volts, 17 watts plus. 5,743. Geekbench 6.3.0 CPU Street Test, higher is better. Single core. 500. 1000. 1500. 2000. 2500. 3000. 2926. 2912. 2901. 2833. 2819. 2739. 2737. 2730. 2628. 2380. 2367. 2246. 2146. 2139. 2021. Looking at the single core performance, the Intel Core Ultra 9 288V Lunar Lake CPU shows strong single core performance in a 30 watts TDP package, which is faster than the Ryzen i9-HX 370 APU with a 35 watts configuration. The Ryzen i9-HX 370 is the newly launched Strix APU with a boost clock of up to 5.1 GHz, so similar to the Core Ultra 9 288V's highest clock. But the Lunar Lake manages to outperform it by 2.4% and at a fixed 30 watts TDP for the i9-HX 370, you can see up to a 5% difference. In multi-core scores, the CPU compares well against the 45 watts plus configurations of the Ryzen 9 7940H and 8945HS configurations, but since it is an 8-core part, it lags behind the multi-core scores of the Ryzen i300 series, 10/12 cores. Despite that, we can see around 12K points in the multi-core tests with final silicon, which will be a good deal for the thin and light segment. The IGBA side will be a more interesting comparison, as both Intel and AMD have now integrated brand new graphics architectures within their new laptop offerings. Intel Lunar Lake Core Ultra 200V CPU lineup. SKU name. Cores, Threads. Cache, LLC. P-Core, E-Core Boost. GPU, Max Clock. PL1 and PL2. PBP/MTP. Memory configuration. NPU, XMX, GPU, TOPS. Core Ultra 9 288V. 8/8. 12 MB. 5.1, 3.7 GHz. Arc 140V at 2.05 GHz. 30 watts/30 watts. 32 GB. 2R. LPDDR5X. 4867. Core Ultra 7 268V. 5.0, 3.7 GHz. Arc 140V at 2.00 GHz. 17 watts/30 watts. 4866. Core Ultra 7 266V. 16 GB, 1R. LPDDR5X. Core Ultra 7 258V. 4.8, 3.7 GHz. Arc 140V at 1.95 GHz. 4764. Core Ultra 7 256V. Core Ultra 5 238V. 8 MB. 4.7, 3.5 GHz. Arc 130V at 1.85 GHz. 4053. Core Ultra 5 236V. Core Ultra 5 228V. 4.5, 3.5 GHz. Core Ultra 5 226 volts. News source. BenchLeaks. Products mentioned in this post: AMD Ryzen i9 HX370. $1,502.83. The links above are affiliate links. As an Amazon associate, FTC.com may earn from qualifying purchases.